You see that shape there? You've got 8 sides and seals, grooves right there. So the reason for that, there's 2 reasons why the 8 sides are. Number 1 is you can grip it easier. It won't slide in your hand, kind of like having a wrench, okay, around like a washer, okay? So these little grooves there are to keep the sweat from making you lose it. Okay, you'll also notice an authentically woven nunchaku. Or you'll see one of the different types that has 3 different strands. And that keeps it from, you only have 2, you can break them, okay? And this is a very effective weapon. So this is called a nunchaku. And I'm just going to show you a couple different models of that and some variations. So this is another one. Isn't that pretty? Okay. This is only a demo one because it's only got 2. Okay, but that's beautiful. That's made out of super, I think this is called ironwood. It's super hard wood. It's almost as hard as iron. And I have one, I have an instructor that I trained with for almost 35 years. His name is Shion Nakayama-Shuchi. He's like a real-life samurai. And he gave this weapon to me. And it's a 3-sectional. It's called a sanchaku, okay? And now the rope here isn't that old, but the actual wood, this was given to him by his instructor. The actual wood here is 100 years old. 100 years old. Isn't that cool? And so that one is really an effective weapon as well. And I no longer ever use this or swing it at all. The practice goes out of respect because it's so cool. Now there's other variations of weapons that have a rope on it. This one actually comes from Korea. It's called the dongbong. And the thing about this one is long, you can use it as a little like mini, like club, almost like our knees. But also because this is in your hand, it's almost impossible for somebody to really disarm this. And this usually was not meant, this was meant to cause pain on somebody, like it was used like for law enforcement maybe, kind of hit on a pressure point. And this is a more modern version of the nunchaku. And
that's cool.
yeah, right? Yeah, that's really cool. It's the same thing, but a more modern version. Like I said, I'm going to let you guys look at this now. Another Okinawan Kabuto weapon that some of you guys have seen before is called a tonfa. This was originally probably used, they say, for a grinding handle for like grinding rice. Okay? And what's cool about this weapon is it's very versatile. You can put your hand here and strike and block. You can switch directions. You can use it this way. So we have all kinds of different applications. Okay? And also, it's very powerful to block or do something big and hard. I'm going to have you hold your questions, guys, and then I'll let you have it in a minute. Now, also an Okinawan Kabuto weapon. This is called a kama, or a sickle. And you've maybe seen the demo team use something like this before, but it's not like this. This is actually razor sharp. Okay? The ones that we use aren't like that. And usually what would happen is this was used by someone that was a farmer, usually growing rice. And they usually had, they would use one at a time and they would take the other one with them. And the reason why is because what they use these for cutting, they would grab the rice with one hand and they would cut with the other hand. But guess what? After 2 or 3 or 4 hours, the blade would get really dull. So instead of going all the way back to their village or their house, what they would do is they'd bring the second one so they could use that in the afternoon. And that night, they would refile them and make them sharp for the next week. Now, another Okinawan Kabuto weapon. This is called, anybody know the name of this? What do you name? This is called a sai, okay? And when there's 2 of them, it's called zai. And this was actually used by law enforcement. It's almost like a badge, okay? And it wasn't, this was also not meant, this was meant to cause harm to someone, but not necessarily hurt them badly. It's usually very blunt, that's why the tips aren't actually sharp. It would strike someone in the arm or the leg to cause pain, and so they can control someone without injury more. You can also use these for handcuffs. Would you get the shinai for me, sir? Also, what's interesting is that they can actually fight someone with a sword with this. So let's say the number 1 line, if you came at me, you can actually catch it with one hand like this and break it. So that would be how that would be used for this. Okay. What do you think's better, this or that? Actually, that is better. But this is, if you didn't have that, this was a pretty good choice. Okay. That's why if you ever see someone practicing with this, you never should they see their fingers in there. Because it'll slip down and leave it out, right? That's why you always hold it. There's a certain way that you hold. And usually, you have a 3rd one with you. And that one you use for throwing, and usually you throw it towards someone's leg or foot. And this is a variation. This is called a timbe. This is very old. This is several hundred years old as well. And that's to catch it with a sword blade. Okay. Kind of scary looking there. All right, now I'm going to switch and I want to talk a little bit about like the fishermen. So the fishermen had a couple weapons that they would use if they ever needed. And the first one is called the Yahoo. This is a